Grace, sit down, please.
Nearly on, guys.
Hey there, and welcome along to the latest episode of Saving Grace. This is verse 3, Eyes Aglow. I am Declan, your dungeon master. I am joined this evening by Tendai as Grace Stormfield, Fiona as Eludia Cinderal, Amber as Sueris, and Eilish as Six. It's been a little bit of a while since we were on, but we're back and we are raring to get stuck into more uh, horrifying misadventures. I think is the way to maybe put this. That's what we're going to be doing. Um, so if you're out there and you're watching, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for coming along this evening. Um, we always preface Saving Grace just with a bit of a word of warning that this is generally a gothic horror. So it does touch on darker themes. It touches on some fairly heavy issues and a little bit of violence as well thrown in there for good mix. So if that's something that's not your cup of tea, then don't
Bye.
watch. Yeah, bye. Yeah. I was trying to figure out the nice way of saying that.
Nah, we don't have time for niceties.
This is the Gothic horror, goddammit.
This is a little taste of what's to come.
Oh, they're always just mean to me. But yeah, so just be mindful of that. Saving Grace is a splinter from our Romancing the Dungeon podcast. A story where we explore the adventures of Grace Stormfield having made a pact with the Grey Lady. When we last left off, things were settling down. Reagan Morit, the new chief of operations for the camp, had arrived alongside an enigmatic man only known as Deacon.
Ooh.
The effects from or rather the consequences of the goblins' attack and the ultimate what was revealed to be a betrayal by the former chief of operations has resolved itself. There were some losses, and then some of you created extra losses because you needed attention.
My character did. My character
Like
did.
character did.
Yeah, my character. That's what my character would do.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Sorry, something caught in my throat there.
lies. Big old lies. But you are, yeah. So we've settled in with Reagan Moret taking her duties very, very seriously. And before we get into verse 3, one quick thing to mention: we have a lovely affiliate link with the Rook and the Raven. So if you are looking to get your hands on some super snazzy and totally customizable tabletop role-playing stuff like this, then yeah.
Hello, little birdie. Oh, it's Sueris. Look. There he is.
Why is he
Please stop.
stabbed? Why
stop.
is he full of arrows?
Does this book tell the future?
No.
But as you, yeah, so whether you're a player or a dungeon master, they make some wonderful, wonderful tabletop role playing accessories, uh, campaign journals, player journals that allow you to keep track of everything. And like I said, totally customizable. And if you use the code D8 Dungeon at the checkout, you will get 15% of a discount. Why are you
Wow.
snickering?
I just looked at my notes and saw Daddy Deacon. It was the man bun.
Oh,
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 Christ.
love it.
we have fun here, don't we? We have fun.
We do. We
That's
do.
that's the most important thing. Not sticking to the core themes or anything.
No, 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 no.
Um, okay. Are we? Is everybody good? Are we? Are all our
Yep.
technical issues sorted?
Think we're okay. Are we?
I think Tendai is stuck again.
Grace is just giving us some sass there.
Yeah. The internet gods hate us. Um, did I just while we're waiting for T to come back? Did I miss out on anything else in terms of events?
Oh, you set up the schedule for D8. There's a
Oh,
snazzy
yeah.
schedule.
Very pretty and full.
Mm-hmm.
It's on all the social media, thanks to
Yeah.
Eilish, and on the Discord. Can we put in a link to the Discord? I can't remember how to do that on Twitch. James, James, where are you?
Twitch.
Oh, Twitch.discord. Dot dungeon.
Wait, what?
/D8.
/Daddy Deacon.
No.
Yeah, we've completely lost Tendai.
Oh,
Wait.
Oh, we're back.
Oh.
You're back,
Yeah.
and we can hear you.
Hey.
Here.
Okay.
Now she's really raring for murder.
I am so close to committing a laptop felony.
Smash it. No, after the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need it for now. Okay. Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Not at all. Stuff happens. Usually to us. So, right, we begin verse 3 the day after, or the morning after, the rousing kind of leadership and promises made by Reagan Morat to turn things around at the camp, to take better care of everybody, uh, to listen, and to effectively create a stronger, more unified force here between the miners, the guards, and the management at the camp. And as day breaks, a sharp, loud whistle just cuts through the morning air, and all of you just hear Garjok's voice just call out across the camp, "Up you louts!" And the day begins. Rocks to
kill him?
break.
Can we kill him? Can we kill him?
Is this Eilish or Six speaking?
Both?
Bit of both.
Has Garjok been taking a leaf out of my mother's waking?
Garjok is based on Mary, yes. As each of you maybe clings to a few more seconds of sleep, the warmth of your cot, or desperately try to drown out Garjok's bellowing voice, uh, you can't help but have the light catch you. Outside, the sky is bright, and there's several clouds that still linger, but they're barely whispers of the storm from the day before and those grey, overbearing clouds that threatened to unleash throughout the night. There's a permanent cold that seems to just settle here on the mountains at the giant's fingers. You become accustomed to it, but this morning with a fresh powder of snow, you're not you're not quite sure what it is. You're not sure if it's just it could still be the the booze still in your system coursing through you. It could be the prospect of a better future. It could just be the fact that one of you murdered a fellow miner in cold blood, and you're relishing that thought.
Who did
Uh,
that?
whatever,
It's me.
whatever it is that stirs you, you are awake. Outside, uh, aside from Garjok shouting and barking at people, what he does best, you can also hear workers. Repairs are still ongoing, but the worst of it was dealt with yesterday. This is just kind of following through with stuff now. You can hear people digging and scraping at the roads and the muck outside. Uh, what are what are you doing, Sueris?
Um, I'll just. I guess I just want to see sort of how other people are reacting. Like I know there was a nice big speech last night, but here we are. It's the next morning. Gartok's out there screaming. Um, has anything actually changed? I just want to have a little stroll around camp and sort of see what the vibe is.
Um, so as you head out, and your breath kind of catches on the morning air, and you can kind of just see it kind of cloud up in front of you. Um, it's one of those mornings, Sueris, that you so thoroughly enjoy. That that cold, it stings, but it's a it's kind of a reminder that you're alive. Uh, and as your nerves and as your skin tingle with it, and you feel your feathers shiver, you do the the air in the camp is very strange. On one hand, you do see people working. You do see people, kind of talking, and it seems to be better than yesterday. But yesterday you were ambushed and betrayed. But even still, people have kind of come through that and are persevering through it. And on the other, just down the path, close to the southern edge of here in the nest, you see several workers gathering piles of lumber and logs, whatever they can kind of get their hands on, and they're constructing funeral pyres.
Okay. With all of that sort of in mind and remembering, Reeves is gone and everything's kind of a mess, I'm going to go back to like the medical tent and just, is there anyone in there then? I imagine it's full enough from the day before.
You you cross the camp, and um, as you approach the tent, give me a perception check.
14.
You briefly overhear, and I mean very, very briefly overhear, um, Arbuckle, the former chief of operations of the camp. Uh, it was like a muffled cry or whimper, um, and you just hear, "Oh gods, no!" and then a lot of coughing.
Okay. Are there other non-traders in there?
You again, this is more as as you were approaching, kind of at the door.
Oh,
So
sure. Sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just head inside and see sort of the
Give me
state
a
of it and.
strength check.
Oh. This might be the first character I've ever played that doesn't have a -1 in strength.
Strength is the dump stat. Everybody knows that.
I know. Oh, okay. Well, 6. It doesn't even matter.
You tried too
At
hard.
least it's not 5.
I guess.
You push on the door, and it gives you, like, it's not locked or anything, but as you push, it just hits something, and inside you just hear a voice just kind of call out, "What is it?"
I'm just coming to help after the attack yesterday.
You cannot come in here.
Is everything all right?
Whatever it is that your man contracted, it's spreading. Alder passed away last night. Now, Arbuckle and 2 of the guards that were brought in with injuries have begun to display symptoms.
When did that happen?
Last night.
But Alder was improving.
Yes. As we discussed, and the figure by the door moves to the crack, and you just see that again. There are that tangle of white and grey hair. As it was kind of tidied up into a top knot, it's now fallen down, and all of it's out, and there's just this shoulder length hair.
Oh.
All you see are just gold and silver eyes. Sorry, 1 second. Someone's doing the recycling outside. You can hear it.
No, don't break the fantasy.
Gold and silver eyes. I'm holding it in my mind.
Yeah, hold that. That's garbage being compressed. Sorry, apologies. As you, he moves to the door, and you can just see his eyes and his hair. Suarez, his nose and mouth covered in a thick black leather mask, at the end of which there seems to be a poultice hanging.
Can I do an insight to see if anything about that seems shady?
Yeah. Give me an insight check.
Seems shady.
Seems
Shimmy,
shady.
I
It's a
hate this
9.
stream.
That's a 9.
No, he, like, as you kind of catch his eyes and he's looking at you, he's quite serious.
Okay, well, I was previously helping with this, so if you should need anything, you can call on me.
Master Suarez, trust me. I have every faith in your ability. I did not catch this. I have already spoken to Miss Reagan. Your services will be needed. I would suggest you rally those that were with you yesterday. I believe she's looking for you.
I don't wanna.
I'm glad to see I rubbed off on you, swear.
No. Okay, yes, absolutely. Anyway, I can help. Just let me know if you need me back. And I begrudgingly leave.
Oh.
Not everybody's trying to get laid all the time.
Ah, boo.
Sorry, why did I start this stream?
We're here, why?
Right?
Why else do people play D&D? What are you talking about? Eludia and Six, or rather, Eludia, you were woken up by Six giving out about Garjok and asking, can we kill him? Um,
Later. Why did you wake me? I wasn't ready to get up yet.
Well, I'm awake, so you're awake.
Well, I suppose we had best get ready for the fun day ahead of us, shall we?
If we must.
She's going to throw her legs over the bed, stand up, get herself dressed, pretty herself up a little bit. She crushed her comb, I think, in one of the episodes and it broke. So she's just going to kind of tousle her hair a little bit, run her fingers through it, but it looks hot. And oh, excuse me, disgrace, want to comment?
Not yet. I'll do a face to face.
There you are.
Thank you. Fixes herself up. Well, Six.
Yeah.
Well, Six.
Beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Shall we?
Six tries to copy what Eludia did with her hair, but it's still just like bedhead on one side, and she walks out behind her.
Come here. And she'll try and fix her a little bit. Come on now, we have to present tonight. Six, I've talked to you about this.
Eludia, give me a roll of a d20.
Oh no, a 2.
Yeah, between Six struggling and you not having your comb or that to do anything with, you just see Six lick her hand and kind of just run her fingers through her hair and just kind of pull a little bit of the bed head back, and she saunters out the door half asleep.
Okay, one thing at a time, Eludia. Breakfast, shall we? Let's go get breakfast. See how Gladys is. I'm sure she's dying to see you, Six.
Yeah,
We have to congratulate her, don't we?
we do.
Oh, the impending nuptials.
Ew. Oh yeah.
Won't that be fun? Assuming we're invited.
Why wouldn't we be invited?
No, okay. Let's just go.
Oh, bless.
We're gonna be bridesmaids.
Eludia and Six, you cross. You step out of your cabin. Your cabin sleeps 8. It's only ever been the 2 of you. Between people
VIP, what?
leaving, people requesting a transfer, you've found that over the last couple of weeks that you've been here at the camp, it's just been the 2 of you in this space alone. Now that you step out on one far end of the camp by the medical tent, you do see Sueris kind of standing in the doorway talking to somebody inside. You see the camp is fairly active, and Garjok just kind of seems to step out from between to the cabin between yours and your own, like between a small gap. All right there, ladies.
Cooey, morning, handsome.
Handsome.
Shut up, Six.
Morning, handsome.
Give me a deception check there, Six. Disadvantage.
Why? That was purely enthusiastic. 4.
Right, cut the shit, the 2 of you. What are you up to?
Oh, excuse me. I would have thought you would be in a better mood, considering what's ahead of you. Glad to say.
What is that to you?
We're gonna be bridesmaids.
Are we?
Well, I just assumed.
Oh, Six, how exciting. What colour does she want us to wear, Garjok?
Puke green.
Yes.
Used to. are lucky if you even get breakfast this morning. And he looks over his shoulder, and then he reaches for something behind his back. He's holding a cleaver in his hand.
Where'd you get
Oh,
that?
Are-
Funny. Funny, Six, because I was about to ask you the very same question.
Well, I didn't have it. You clearly have it.
you took Gladys's cleaver, Garchuk?
That's brave.
Oh, you're in for a spanking later.
Ladies, ladies,
Ew.
ladies, ladies. If I tell Gladys that this was found amongst your belongings, it's not a spanking you've got to worry yourselves about. And he slaps the sharp end of the blade against the flat of his hand.
Why? What are you gonna do?
Well, let's just say Gladys, she can make do with rations. And in a fix, you know, so I've heard. People make good meat.
Elodie is going to walk right up to him and just look down at him. You best be careful who you threaten, little man.
Give me an intimidation check with advantage. because I'm actually scared of you right now.
18.
He tries to hold your gaze, Aludia, and you just kind of see him quiver. And Six, you see the cleaver in his hand shake a little, like his hand is actually shaking. You just give it back to her, will you? And he shoves it into your hands, Aludia.
Of course. Of course. Thank you,
Yeah.
Garchuk.
We're gonna be bridesmaids.
Oh, we are. Now, off you go. Don't you have work to do? Off you go. See you later now. Bye bye. And she's going to walk around him.
Six is gonna lean in as she passes him and go, "See you at the altar."
Oh.
he stands there. He's gone beet red with rage, and he's even got a bit of like spit frothing at the corners of his mouth. And he's just his fists are clenched. He doesn't know what to say or how to react to either of you, particularly to you, Eludia, and your presence.
Mm.
Grace, being in the cabin next to this, you've heard a deal of it. And as you step out, you find actually, what do you do before you head out? Is there anything you'd like to do? No audio. Nope. Nope. I think I can hear you.
Can you hear us? Oh,
Yeah,
she's gone.
I can hear Amber. Oh no, sorry, that's me. yes, I can hear you. It's picking you. Yeah, see, it's picking you up
We
again.
can hear you too. We can hear you. Yeah.
Yay!
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to. I probably wouldn't have slept very well thinking about just that look in Reagan's eyes. So I'm just going to get up, make sure I have everything on me that I probably need for the day, and before I step out, I'm going to hear this and just kind of smile to myself, hearing Garchuk get threatened.
Um, as you kind of ready yourself for the day, and you try to cast the conversation with Reagan last night and that look that she shot you across the fire pit, and how her eyes seemed to follow you for the whole evening's events. You something as you dress and you pull your kind of your coat up closer and you kind of brace yourself for the air outside, you reach into your pocket and you feel something wet.
Automatically, I'm going to think this was something to do with Ludi and Six, and I'm going to grab it and withdraw my hand very gingerly to look at what it is.
It's a as you kind of take it in your hands before you kind of just glide it against it, as you now kind of take it in your hand, um that wet, that cold feeling, it's like it's like plunging your hand into a swamp, and your skin crawls as you pluck at it, and it comes loose from your pocket, and it's a small piece of cloth. It's gray, it's frayed at the edges, almost like it's been ripped and torn and held and squashed and scrunched and wrung. And as you pull it free and you hold it up in front of you, there's a name written on it. It's the same name the night previous, and the name from the nightmare. And for a second, just behind you, you feel as if 1,000 eyes on the wall are all watching you. And in your hand, you find yourself holding like a handkerchief, and it's got a small purple violet flowers embroidered onto it. It's not a rotting bandage, it's not a name, there's nothing, it's just a handkerchief.
I'm going to cast my eyes around and look back at the handkerchief again, while trying to steel myself so nobody can see that there's something wrong.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Mm-hmm. 18.
Staring, like kind of darting your eyes kind of around you, making sure that there's nobody else there and the cabin is empty. You heard everybody leave this morning. You heard Suarez leave a few moments ago. You stare back at the handkerchief in your hand and you just crush it. Just like you crush the cloth in your hand and stuff it into your pocket. And as you reach for the door and to let yourself out and to step out into the day, you steel yourself, and yet somewhere in the corner of the room, as you close the door, you hear somebody whisper, "Grace." And the door shuts, and you're standing next to Eludia and Six, who are arm in arm, kind of jauntily skipping towards the canteen.
There she is. It's
Morning.
Grace. Good morning.
Guess what?
Good morning. What?
We're gonna be bridesmaids.
For whose wedding?
Grace. Oh, Six, she doesn't know. Gladys and Garjock. Grace.
Gladys asked
Mhm.
you two to be bridesmaids.
She didn't have to. We just knew.
I thought so. Okay.
Oh, you-
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Mm,
Grace.
yeah.
I take it you didn't sleep that well. You look a bit peaky.
To be honest, a few things could be said about you, Ludia, and Six. And Grace's eyes is going to scan all the way down and up.
Take it all in.
Just be like, Maybe a comb wouldn't have gone amiss.
Oh no, 6 likes it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she does.
It's called
Mhm.
a bedhead.
6, shut up now. Shut up.
Grace, Grace is just going to look and be like, okay, okay, sure, and walk towards Gladys.
Okay, you're heading to the canteen.
Mm-hmm.
Suarez unfortunately hasn't escaped your ear. Uh, the others have kind of gathered, and with Deacon having told you that Reagan is looking for you and them, uh, now is an opportunity. And you turn back and you see that they're heading towards the canteen.
Fantastic.
Can we see him?
Yeah.
Morning, Suarez. How are you? Come join us. We have some amazing news to tell you. Come on,
Can
come
can birds smile?
on. Oh.
All right, I just click my beak like I'm smiling.
Ugh. There it is.
Out
That's
of all
those
this,
horror.
that's what upsets you. Yeah, no, I just kind of steel myself and take a deep breath and go to join them. Good morning.
Morning. I was still very impressed with what you did yesterday.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. Wasn't it? 6? 6?
Oh.
6?
Six just quit.
6 just disappears into the ether.
Fail.
Just a
Oh,
panic.
no.
Panic in your eye. Like, how dare you leave me to be crazy by myself?
You're crazy, girl.
There it is. You got it in. Fair play.
Where's she gone? Eilish, come
There it is.
back.
You got it in. Fair play.
Yes,
The
very
joys of
impressed.
terrible.
Very impressed. I liked how you maimed him so well.
The joys of terrible.
Thank you. Just, doing what I have to do.
Very handy with that weapon, aren't you?
I've practiced a lot, yeah.
Oh, on what?
With other people at the temple.
Oh. And how did they fare?
Well, everybody's well trained.
Oh. No injuries?
We try not to maim each other, you know.
Oh, you're no fun. She's gonna smack him on the shoulder.
Okay.
and Alder, how's Alder doing? Smack him on the shoulder.
Yeah, and unfortunately, actually, I just found out he passed in the night.
Oh.
So
Did you see it?
no,
I mean,
there
You weren't with them.
there seems to have been an outbreak overnight, so they're quite quarantined actually.
Elodie will take a little step back from Suarez upon hearing that. And are you infected?
No, I haven't been in, the last day or two, so
Hmm.
all is well, everything's fine.
Okay, just maybe stay over there.
That's fine. Yeah, can do. No bother.
Grace, there's Suarez. Why don't you hug him?
Um,
Nice hug there.
Grace is actually going to like fall back a little bit to walk in like alongside Suarez and say, the further I can get away from her, the better.
Did you
I
tell
would rather
Suarez the
catch
good
the
news?
plague.
Suarez, there's to be a wedding.
Oh, that's exciting news around these parts.
Gladys
Oh,
and
and-
Garjack.
Oh,
Oh,
Mm.
yeah,
Wow.
and apparently these two bridesmaids.
Isn't it wonderful? Will
oddly
you be performing
appropriate.
the ceremony? Maybe they'll get you to do it.
I don't believe I'm qualified.
Really? Okay.
Good catch there on the laughter out loud, Olivia. Good catch there on the laughter out loud.
Oh, okay. Well, perhaps Brother Reeves, that handsome man, whoever he's at.
Yeah, I'm sure.
On a side note,
Okay.
Declan shared a picture of Brother Reeves in our Saving Grace chat, and he is smoking hot.
Mhm.
So, if we ever find that
That was
man,
just a picture of me. What do you
Ah!
know?
Aye.
Ah.
Nice.
Okay, so you all have disadvantage on your next rolls for that reaction.
You know, fair. I'll take it. Yep. Maybe
I
Deacon
can't.
will save me.
Oh, well, you're
No.
gonna have to fight for Daddy Deacon.
True. True.
Daddy Deacon.
Daddy
The,
Deacon. True.
the four of you step into the canteen, and it's quite busy. There's a lot of noise coming from the canteen, and you can overhear Gladys cursing and shouting at some of the kitchen staff. It's generally like this first thing in the morning with the early morning rush to get food out onto plates or into pots or whatever it might be. Um, the air in here, though, with the exception of Gladys, because usually the conversation and people talking at tables would drown it out, but not a lot of people seem to be in the mood. It's very different, Suarez, to the mood that you saw with the workers outside who were just busy. In here, with kind of nothing else to do but eat, people are quiet. And there's a small group that are huddled around a young Ganassi woman who's yeah, she's kind of whimpering and still she's in that kind of she's trying to catch her breath, and in between breaths she's trying to talk to people and stuff like that, but people seem to be kind of supporting her.
Did I know what happened to her friend?
She died in the attack.
Yeah, but would Suarez have caught on to that?
Caught on to the murder or caught on to the
Well, I guess specifically that person had died, because like a lot of people died. So like, would I know her and her
yes,
friend
only,
well enough?
only because Eludia was the one to go up and
Okay.
shank her and then proclaim that she died of her injuries. That Eludia gave her. Just omitted that part of.
I
Right.
gave her the killing blow. The rest wasn't me. Put her out of her misery.
I mean, she wasn't at death's door, but sure, okay.
She would have survived.
Yeah, she would have.
Not after that last stab, she would have.
But yes, to answer your question, you're aware of who she is.
Can I approach her and just, I guess, does she look approachable, or is this like back off and let her cry?
No, there's a lot of people kind of around her. Like you see
Okay.
kind of a few people kind of around that seem to be kind of just offering her company and a few choice words and stuff like that. But she, give me an insight check.
Yeah.
At advantage, because this
is what I do.
As morbid as this sounds, but this is your cup of tea.
You guys think they're weird?
Yeah. Yeah, she loves it.
They're weird. You said insight?
Yes, at advantage.
Unnatural 20.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I told you I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's straight away where she's at. It's not that she hasn't accepted it. It's just that it's easier to just switch off. It's that mode that people go through, that just flick the switch and just not be present.
Okay. Can I approach her then?
Mhm.
And without sort of like interrupting too much, just get her attention. Don't want to be too intense.
Yeah.
And just yeah.
No, sorry, no, you want.
I just wanted to lean in and sort of lightly touch her hand or her arm or whatever, and just be like, I know what you're currently dealing with is extremely hard, and I know you're probably not ready to deal with it, but were you to need somebody to help you through this, feel free to seek me out. And just sort of give her a little nod.
She looks up at you. She I I fell asleep last night. I I fell asleep last night. Like nothing had changed. And then I woke up this morning and she wasn't there. And she just looks back down into her hands again.
It will take time for you to be okay with this and to understand this. And it's okay if things feel normal, and it's okay if things feel bad. But you don't have to deal with it alone.
A few of the others around her kind of like, yeah, yeah, more or less what he said. Kind of, that they're trying, like, they were offering condolences, but nobody was really listening to her. And you saw a couple of tears fall and just catch in her hands, uh, and she just rubs the palms of her hands together and then just kind of rubs her eyes. She would think I'm being ridiculous. And she just kind of stands up. I'm going to pack some things. And she takes your hand, Sueris, and she just kind of gives it a squeeze. Thank you.
The
And
offer stands to speak anytime you need, and I let her go.
take inspiration.
Oh, you're so
Ooh.
good.
Oh.
Mhm.
You lick ours.
Oh no, I
You
was
know-
nice.
Not this dream, Amber. Did you get the memo? Did she walk out of the tent, the Ganassi Declan?
She's heading for the exit, yeah.
Okay, as she passes by me, I'm just going to reach out and give a squeeze of her shoulder and look her in the eyes and say, I'm just so sorry for your loss.
Then you stab her.
I'm going to look at this display of emotion and be like,
Grace,
and
she
I
lost her
also
partner. I'm
that
so sorry
wasn't
about Grace.
for her. I am sincerely sorry that you lost a very dear loved one. Everybody knew how much you care for each other.
That's better. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you both. And she's just kind of like, she just brushes your hand away, Eludia, and she leaves.
Is that noise like Declan's head about to explode? I could just hear this.
No, because
Yeah, it sounds like
sorry, my
it sounds
partner.
like a kettle.
No, that's my partner decided to turn the washing machine on. If you give me 2 seconds, I'm
Uh-oh. Somebody text us
Uh-oh, someone's in trouble.
That's the aliens who abducted 6 back to the next person.
Declan's been taken.
and you can probably still hear it, but that's
No, that's better. That's loads better.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, that's better. That's loads better.
It's been a day.
It wouldn't have worked if our first episode back in a while wasn't a fucking shit show.
You can just tell we're rusty. That's what it is. We're just
Yeah.
rusty.
Get back into it. It's okay.
Yeah, next time we won't put the washing machine on at the start of the stream. It's going to make for an interesting conversation directly after this.
Oh no.
Hmm.
Oh,
Do you need
no.
a Ludia there?
I'll be rolling intimidation a lot. Yeah, a couple of kitchen hands come out. A halfling and an Aura Corcoran that looks a little bit like a hen put down a basket of bread and a couple of bowls of gloop. Basically, it's the only way to describe it. It's like a milky, milky porridge. Like it's a very oats thing, but there's curds floating in it,
Mm.
and shavings of meat.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
Declan.
Food every time.
Oh, fuck. Oh, Gladys. Gladys at her best again, I see.
I'll peck at some bread.
Oh, bugger. Sorry, Emery44. Thanks so much for the message. Someone just popped in to tell us that Eilish lost electricity.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
no! Oh fuck!
Wow. Okay. Thank you,
That's
Emery44.
intense.
Uh-huh.
That's her for her hubris.
That's intense.
That'll learn her. Uh,
We'll just assume Six is just following Elodie everywhere, doing everything she's
Everything I
doing.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, up to a point. We'll do
I'll
that
see
up
what I
to a
can get
point.
away with.
Yeah. Okay. So the four of you are sat at this table, kind of just picking at food, and kind of people are milling in and out. People are kind of getting ready to head down the mines and so on and so forth. When the door to the canteen opens and Garjok storms in straight towards your table. What are the four of you doing?
Oh,
Eating
is this thing called
breakfast?
eating, Garjok? You do it, you get energy, and then you're able to do all the wonderful work that you put us to.
You're here how many weeks, Eludia? I've yet to see you do any of that work.
Oh, okay. Watch
And
your
then
back next time there's a raid, Garjok. Maybe I won't be able to get them on time.
he caught himself at the end of that and immediately regretted it. Uh, Miss Moret is looking for the four of you. Sueris, you were supposed to get them.
Wait, I didn't realize we had to skip breakfast. I apologize.
It's her first day at the camp. You'd think you'd want to make an impression, lad.
Let's go.
Look at you
See her.
shirking your duties. Bull boy.
Let's go. See her.
Come on, then.
Yeah.
Mistress
Sorry.
away. Come on.
Sorry.
Grace, up we go. Come on. Shovel that last bit into you. Come on. In we go. Reagan
Grace is just going to drop the spoon and clench her fists while getting up and take a deep breath. Let it go after being clapped at like a pet. And I'm going to kind of like shrug and shoulder pass Eludia and say to Suez, it's okay, you weren't told that it had to be straight away.
No, it's all right. I should have. It's her first day. I should have assumed.
Oh, don't worry, she seems to be
it's all
quite
right, I should've-
a decent person, unlike some.
Six, put that spoon down. Put the spoon down, Six. She'll just slap the spoon out of Six's hand. You've had enough. Six, put that spoon down. Come on now. And she'll drag Six along behind her.
The Garjok is just staring at you, Eludia, and how people seem to be reacting to you. And as you get up, he makes his way to the entrance, and you just hear kind of a coming from inside the kitchen, like a little whistle. And his face flushes, and he's and he heads out the door.
Garjok.
And
What was
Grace.
that?
Mm-hmm.
What was what?
Are
Oh,
you not
you
gonna
know
return
what?
it? Your lady love?
Work,
You know what?
Eludia.
Your lady love?
Work.
Six, I wonder what she sees in him.
Work, Eludia.
Oh, the work, yes, the work. Six, I wonder what she sees
Uh,
Grace
Garjok,
is gonna chuckle a little bit.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
no. Oh no.
Now I know how to break Grace.
he
Slag the
leans.
shit out of
Oh
Garchuk. Yeah, now we're
You
best mates.
you head out of the canteen across the courtyard and down along the southeast ridge next to the it's on the eastern bank next to the medical tent or the hut. There's a cabin that Arbuckle had been using, and Reagan took over pretty much straight after a couple of drinks. Everyone kind of saw her enter. Nobody saw her leave. And as you approached the cabin, Garjok just gives four sturdy knocks on it, and inside you just hear yes. Um, Miss Moret, the you asked to see Suarez and the others. I fetched them for you. And the door opens with a groan, and standing there, you see Reagan. She's wearing the same clothes she was wearing last night, though the the top two buttons of her blouse are open. Um, and you catch just the end of a silver chain just hanging down that disappears uh, down her top, and she looks tired. Like you can definitely see kind of like the bags under her eyes and her hair, like her she doesn't look as composed as she did yesterday, but even still, there's an edge to her eyes that Grace you don't miss. There's still as much as tired as she looks and as messy as she looks, there's still something there. It's as if her defenses are still up, her mind is still active, or there's a part of her still very alert. Um,
Can
oh,
I notice any of that, Declan? Like, can I
give me an
see the way
insight
she's
check.
looking? I want to get in on this. That is. Oh, it's only a 10.
You see the look, but the it could to Eludia, it could be people when they give that look, it can be it can mean a lot of different things. It can be just that she's tired, it can be just pure frustration, it could be anything. But she sees the four of you, and you just hear kind of like just take her two middle fingers and just kind of brush at her eyes. Oh, oh yes, that'll be all, Garjok. If you continue to see to the repairs of the camp, and I assume the teams have started the excavations again. Uh, and before Garjok has a word to say, she's shuffling the four of you into the cabin.
Uh, Grace is going to turn to her and say, "If you need a bit more time to rest, we can come back a little bit later."
How kind of you, Grace. No, not at all. I always say I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Well, that's pretty much what everybody does.
No, a project started must be finished, and I foolishly decided after a drink or two that I would try and make some sense. And she gestures into the cabin, and it's just one rectangular office. It's about 12 foot long and about 9 foot deep. There's a large wooden table smack in the center of the room, sitting on a fairly mouldy looking owlbear skin rug. Like it's very tattered and dusty looking. Uh, there are stacks and stacks of paper piled up on the desk on the floor. The walls are lined with shelves that have all manner of instrument, file, uh, ornament, rocks, equipment just bungled into piles. And you see that next to the desk on the left hand side, there are just two boxes, and they appear to be full of torn up pieces of paper. It would appear my predecessor didn't exactly keep the neatest or organized filing systems. Please, if you can find a place to sit, my office is yours.
Eludia will brush past Grace and Sueris and leading Six by the hand. Excuse me, excuse me. Can we find the most comfortable and cleanest looking thing to sit on, please? What are our options?
There's a small armchair. There's a couple of things on it. Like there's a short stack of paper on it and a couple of scrolls bound up, and kind of pressed with a wax seal.
I'll I'll scoop them up and put them on a nearby table and sit down and just pat the arm of the chair for Six to sit beside me. Does she? I'm sure she does. She's
She
not
does,
really
yeah.
inspired.
That's what I said her to do now.
Come, sit.
Grace is going to look around and just try and clear or stack some of the papers and take a seat on the next flattest surface, really.
There's kind of a ramshackle stool that was there, that was sitting there. It seemed to be used as a desk more than anything else, Grace. But yeah, you were able to get. I can't say comfortable on it, but you're able to get seated on it.
Mhm.
I'll just sort of shuffle in past, and as I sort of pass her, I go, apologies for the delay. We stopped for breakfast before coming by.
Not at all, Master Sueris. Please. I mean, who am I'm merely just the middleman between you and upper management, and what I feed back to them certainly does have an impact. But please,
Wow.
Okay, coming in hot.
With that, I just sort of shuffle in, and I don't even necessarily look for a place to sit, but I just kind of like squeeze myself in between a bunch of papers so I'm out of the way.
Yeah,
To what
I'm
do we
going
owe
to
the
clear a bit
pleasure,
of
Miss
space with
Morris?
Suarez beside me.
she Reagan roll. You just kind of see her. She rolls out her shoulders, and her hands go out behind her back, and she clasps them, and she kind of just stretches her arms up. Her body, the position, like it, you hear kind of a very audible like clock as she kind of separates her shoulders, uh, and then she pops them straight back in, and she rolls her hands out. She sits on the corner of the desk, and brings her two like she stretches her feet out in front of her and brings one foot over the other, and her hands sit on her lap. We're in a bit of a we're in a bit of a situation at the moment. Uh, Master Suarez, you already spoke with Deacon. I Deacon will be taking over for Brother Reeves until we can locate the healer, presuming he's alive. Uh, Deacon is an accomplished and quite knowledgeable man in the area of medicine. Um, so, Suarez, I hope you don't mind. I simply feel I know him better and I can trust him, though he does speak quite highly of your skill and ability. He himself admitted to missing the infection.
Of course, look, as long as everyone is looked after, it doesn't much matter who does it.
Indeed. How kind of you. Oh, uh, Grace. Um, I trust you've had some time to think about my offer.
Oh,
I
what might that
have.
be?
I was offered a promotion.
Oh, a promotion! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I feel with uh, Garjok's upcoming ev-
Nuptials?
event, nuptials. Yes, sorry, that's the word I meant. Thank you. Yes, nuptials. Between that and his age, uh, I feel the task of foreman, and my right hand here. Uh, I need someone with a firmer grasp on things. Well, Grace, seeing how you handled the situation yesterday, I think you were the natural choice.
Mm, excuse me.
I'm just going to throw like a very sharp glance at Ludia and say, well, truth be told, it's probably a lot easier to organize people when everything's a bit more disheveled than when everybody's feeling at their best. So, personally, I still don't think that I'm the
Mm-hmm.
best choice in this, in that
I'm gonna just be nodding at 6. I would agree with that.
in that I didn't have any intentions really of pursuing a loftier position. I just wanted to do my work and I suppose live in as much peace as possible as this place would allow.
Hmm.
But if you do need the additional support, since Garjok will be quite preoccupied, then I will happily fill in for the time being.
Oh, Grace, you've no idea how happy I am. Of course, that does mean you have a salary increase that to match the responsibilities. That will take place immediately.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Time
so
to unionize.
I can appreciate that a change of hands in management is not always the easiest of transitions to make. And she's now looking at you, Eludia. But I trust everything from now on will go exactly as it has to.
Oh, of course, Miss Marsh. Anything that Six and I can do to ease Grace's transition into this lofty position, I'm sure there will be plenty of speed bumps, but we'll be here to help her along the way.
Grace is gonna start like choking on just air, air, while Aludia spills this height.
I'll play. I'm gonna place a hand on Grace's knee and just look her directly in the eye. Anything we can do to help, you let us know, Grace. Okay?
Grace is going to very visibly just kind of like wince.
Hmm. It's great to see that all of you would be and are willing to assist with this. I There's a matter that we must discuss, and it really needs uh, a delicate hand. And at that, there's a knock on the door. Uh, yes, Deacon. Perfect timing. And the door opens, and standing there, Deacon. He is soaked to the bone. He's like his hair, uh, it's clinging to his shoulders, parts of his chest down along his back. Um, he's topless, and you see that the front, his chest, there is one long, heavy scar that cuts him from his right shoulder down his clavicle, down his midriff, just to the tip of his belly button. Oh my
Oh.
god.
Continue, continue. Whoa.
Where,
Continue, continue.
yeah.
Continue,
No.
please.
Oh, sorry. Uh, he steps in and he closes the door behind him. And when he does, you see that beyond his chest, just over his shoulders, and Sueris, you see it first. You see the two extra joints on his back, and where the joint meets his shoulders and his frame, it's just jagged bones,
Ooh.
and the tissue around it has healed, but it looks to be a fairly fresh scar. but it looks to be
Hmm.
a fairly
Uh,
fresh scar.
Grace is just going to have try to listen outside to see. Did it start raining? Grace is just going to have try to listen
That's your
outside
concern?
to see. Did it start raining?
No, it did not.
That's your concern?
I took the necessary precautions after I was
it did not.
with
I took the
the
necessary
patients.
precautions after I
Oh.
Oh,
was
yes, yes, that makes far more sense.
With
the
the
patient.
Do you need some help drying off?
Oh, yes, yes, that
Not
makes
at
far
all.
more sense.
I just wanted to check, Grace. You need to
Reagan
get your shot.
Reagan kind of looks around.
Reagan
Get your shot.
Deacon has discovered that whatever
Deacon
whatever has
has
become of
discovered
the
that
original infection, it now seems to
whatever
be
has
spreading.
become of the original infection.
In
Arbuckle and two of the men that were caught in the ambush yesterday that were sent to the medicine hut for
Arbuckle
healing
and two of the men that were
now
caught in the
display
ambush yesterday
similar
were sent
symptoms to Alder.
to the medicine hut for healing.
and
Now
Deacon, do you have any theories
display
on how this is
similar
spreading?
symptoms
Is
to
it
Alder.
through physical contact, through the air?
I have not begun the autopsy on Aldar's body.
Okay.
My
I have
work
not begun
these
the
past
autopsy
few
on Altar's
hours,
body.
I've been more concerned with
My work these
our
past few hours,
supplies.
I've been more concerned with
Our medicinal supplies.
our supplies.
Yes, it would seem that, and Deacon is now looking at you, Suarez.
Yes, it would
When
seem
Brother
that,
Reeves
and
vanished,
Deacon is now looking at you,
quite a
Suarez.
stock
When
of
Brother Reeves vanished,
herbs, healing
quite
poultices,
a stock
potions, even equipment
of
vanished with him.
herbs, healing poultices, potions,
Reagan and
even
I, as
equipment
part of the consignment of
vanished
goods that
with
we
him.
brought with us, does include
Reagan and I, as part of the
some
consignment of goods that we brought with us,
more
does
practical
include
instruments and medical kits, but
some
nothing that would
more
would
practical
prove useful in this
instruments and medical
situation.
kits, but nothing that would prove
And
useful
Reagan kind of
in
just
this
clears her throat. And that is
situation.
where the four of you are going to come in.
Wonderful.
And Reagan kind of just clears her throat. And that is where the four of you are. I have managed to, over the last couple of hours, gather a little bit of information on Brother Reeves.
Managed to, over the
He
last couple of hours,
tended
gather a little bit of
to
information on
frequent
Brother
the
Reeves.
woods to the south from here.
Hmm.
Tended
And
to frequent the woods
Gladys
to the south.
Yes,
informed
Gladys.
me that
Um,
he was
and
known to take baths
Gladys
in the Devil's Bath,
informed me that
a
he was
pond or a
known
lake
to take
in the
baths
woods.
in
Mm-hmm.
the Devil's Bath.
Okay.
A pond or a lake
The other
in the woods.
news, if that's what you wish to call it, seems to be more of the rumor variety, and I'm not altogether certain that I quite trust it.
Rumor
You know how
variety,
people
and
can
I'm not
be.
altogether certain
A
that I
story
quite
grows
trust it.
legs, but and it's
A story grows
quite
legs,
serendipitous, really,
but
Grace, as I had intended that it be the first
it's
task we take.
quite
But
serendipitous, really.
several of the
Grace, as I had
guards
intended that
reported
it
that
be the
Brother
first
Reeves
task we take.
still
But
frequented the chokehold mine,
several of the guards reported that Brother Reeves
Okay.
still frequented the
despite it being
chokehold
closed a
mine.
couple of weeks back.
Mm,
Ooh.
Had any
that
of you
Despite it being
seen?
closed a couple of weeks back.
No. What would he be
I
doing
Has
down
any of
there?
you
I wouldn't have
seen?
seen. I wouldn't have interacted with Brother Reeves that frequently on a daily basis.
I I covered for him when he was away, but I never really questioned where he was going. I covered for him when he was away, but I never really questioned where he was going.
The matter at hand, we need to replenish
The matter
some
at
of our
hand.
supplies.
We need to
Deacon
replenish
has some,
some of our
but,
supplies.
and at this time he produces two
Deacon has
two small glass vials from a pouch on his side, just kind of dangling from his hip. And he just holds them both between his thumb, his index finger, and his middle finger. You need, we need these. I, for the time being, I hope they will treat the symptoms. He turns one to face you, and you see inside it a thin stem. At the end of it, some light, half wilted petals. Snake root.
Elodie will stand up and just like put a hand out. May I?
And he puts it into your hand.
And she'll take a good look at it and let Six. Six would be the expert on this shit. So I'll let her have a good look at it.
And in the other, he kind of turns it for everyone to see. Mad woman's milk, and it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have any flowers. It looks just to be kind of thicker, uh, heavier leaves. Um, and these are the bare minimum. I'm not too familiar with the region, though on our journey here, I did eye some of these.
Elodie will reach over Grace and pass the two vials over to Suarez to let him have a look.
Would I recognize these?
Uh, Give me a medicine
Would I
check
recognize these?
or a nature check, whichever of the two Suarez you think would be more of a benefit to you.
Sorry, Grace, I just didn't think you'd have expertise in this field.
Oh, you don't know me that well, Aludia. It's okay.
Fortunately.
For both of us.
A natural 20.
You recognize both instantly. The the vial with the green stem and the faint pink petals on the flower, it's echinacea. Uh, the other plant with the thicker leaves is sun spurge. Um, uh, the names that Deacon used are folk names. It's
Okay.
kind of it's just names that are passed down that
Yeah.
would generally be more common. You now know them as the actual plant names. Both are used in the treatment of respiratory, or can be used in the treatment of respiratory conditions.
Okay.
Sun
So they
spurge
do
might not.
make sense for.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
they do. They do. Um,
Okay.
Grace
they do make
is going
sense
to hold out a hand
Okay.
for the vials just to get a sniff of them.
I'll pass them over, yeah.
yeah.
And
Oh yes, Grace, do tell us.
I'll pass them over.
Share the knowledge. Oh yes, Grace,
well,
do tell us.
they are found here. And
Oh.
Give me a nature check. Give me a nature check.
These are plants, and
They
They
grow on the
grow.
ground.
I got a 17.
Oh.
There you
Oh.
go. All right.
Um,
They have roots. They need sun and water.
If I give you enough, Lydia, you might die.
so, the echinacea, you've seen it, Grace, and you know how it kind of grows and stuff like that, and that it's known by it's the petals is what kind of gives it away, and it's fairly sturdy, like it's a fairly sturdy plant, in that it would survive the conditions up here, maybe not the extreme cold temperatures this high up, but a little bit further south down into the woods, you might, and you've seen it. The sun spurge itself, you're a little less uncertain of it, but you again, like Deacon, you think you've seen it, and from what you know of the plant, or at least this variant, um, it does tend to grow in clusters. So it's not that you're going to have to go look for loads of little plots of it, that you'll generally find a lot of it in one place. It tends to
In
grow.
one place.
Yeah.
Can I interject and just say,
Perfect.
would Six know if either of those would be in any way like used in like a poison, or like could they be used in a negative way? Either of those plants.
Um, I tell you what.
Because my point, what I'm trying to get at is, I obviously don't want to play for Eilish, but I would think that if Six knew that, she would either try and sneak one in her bag or ask, could she keep it?
Okay.
I'm just
As
guessing, Eilish, but I would think that's what she'd try and do.
um, as you were okay, give me a give me a give me a roll of a d20, and then you can add a +2 to it.
19.
So
So neither echinacea or the sun spurge are particularly toxic, um, but there's um, particularly with the sun spurge, there are varieties of it, and they could be poisonous and extremely poisonous.
But not this particular one.
Not from what she can gather. Not this
Okay.
variety of it.
I think she will probably reluctantly hand them back in that case.
so Grace is gonna turn to Ludia and explain that one of them is echinacea and where we could possibly find it.
Oh, fascinating.
And well, kind of is. You didn't know where you could find these.
Look at you, Grace, earning that new salary. Well done, you.
Sort of trying to get us back on track, I just turned to Reagan and I'm like, so you need us to go collect more of this, is it?
Correct, Master Suarez. However, while you are out, it would be wise to perhaps keep an eye out for Brother Reeves, whether in the Devil's Bath or the chokehold. I guess, and she looks at Deacon, priority now, our restocking is restocking our supplies. So I won't delay you any further. Please, as much as you can, as quickly as you can, and while you're out, do keep an eye out for Reeves.
We
Oh,
will.
Of course.
absolutely.
It would probably be best if we head for the woods first. We will probably have a better chance.
Well done, Grace. Yes, we probably will be able to fell those plants in the woods. I think that is a great place to start. Go you.
Grace is just going to clench her jaw, and you're going to actually hear grinding of teeth.
Six, isn't she so smart? Our new foreman. Oh,
Um, just as you're heading out the door, and Deacon kind of has gone out in front of you. Um, Six, if you don't mind, uh, there's something else I need your help with. And Reagan kind of cuts between Eludia and Six.
oh.
Oh, look at that.
Eludia, is she holding like Six and holding her, like keeping her inside?
Yeah, she's like Reagan has kind of put an arm on her arm, a hand on her arm. Sorry.
Eludia will just stand there while the others leave the room.
Eludia,
Mhm.
she only wants to talk to Six.
Mhm. She's not moving.
You can leave us, Eludia. This you have work to be doing with Grace and Suarez. Six's skills. There's a different job I require.
Mm, fair enough. She's just gonna eye Reagan and make eye contact with Six. and then leave. She'll hang around the door, I think, if Daddy Deacon lets her.
Deacon is standing at the bottom of the stairs, kind of looking at the three of you. And Reagan just shuts the door with a fairly loud bang. It's a good day bang.
We have been effectively dismissed, so on our way.
Fair enough. Lead the way. To the woods, was it? The woods. For plants.
Yes. I
Maybe Reeves.
know.
Maybe Reeves. At least he'd be a nice respite. Let's go.
Yes.
You're heading
Grace.
south?
Yes, Grace
Yeah.
is just going to walk ahead, trying to stay as far away from Eludia as possible.
And as we walk in, is there anyone else around us outside?
It's just Deacon down here.
There's no one else. Oh.
No, as you are like, Deacon stands and watches you leave. As you continue south, just outside the camp, you do see 4 stacks of timber have been piled up. You all know instinctively what they are, but nobody says anything. And the path continues down down the hillside here, and the further away from the camp you get, the thicker the trees start to get. And as you begin your hunt for herbs and flowers, we are taking a quick break there. Okay, so we are going to be back in 5 minutes.
I miss
So
my buddy. It's no
rest,
fun slagging Grace alone.
rest, hydrate, get up, stretch,
No fun slagging
and
Grace
we will see everybody
alone.
back in 5 minutes.
Yay.
Rest,
See you
hydrate,
soon.
get up.
Yeah, same.
Oh,
Oh.
welcome back.
Yeah. So we're all like, what was that?
That's how we speak when we're on break
Yeah.
to each other.
Yeah, we're all well-adjusted adults. Welcome back to the second half of what has been a trying episode.
Both in and out of
Welcome back.
stream.
Yeah. Bless our little hearts. We're back, and the great Eludia and Sueris have headed down into the woods on the Giant Fingers Mountain to look for herbs to replenish a supply that had been stolen or vanished alongside Brother Reeves. Can everybody, as you're walking down again, you've a full light of day. Like I said, the sky has remained bright. The sun, for once, is out and practically visible. Now, that's that isn't offering any warmth at all, but you can still kind of catch it on your face. You can still feel that warmth, that little bit of it, that trace of it that's there. Everybody, give me a nature check.
Is this for the area that we're in, Declan? Is this
Yes.
still considered like mountain area? Can I
Yes.
use my natural explorer?
God,
So
look at you as a ranger doing
Ooh.
rangery things.
doing ranger
Ooh.
things.
Yes, of course again.
That was a
You.
6.
Okay.
6 here as well.
Okay.
It's because we miss her so much.
18 for me. Ranger doing
Which is
ranger things.
6 3 times.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, my six.
um,
Oh.
as you uh, as you as you're heading down and you've kind of wandered off the track now on the road into the woods, uh, Sueris and Grace, you're looking for your, the easy thing to spot here are probably going to be the purple flowers, the echinacea, and you're you're trying to kind of spot it amongst everything, but you're kind of so caught up in that you haven't realized you've just stumbled across a bushel of the sun spurge, and Eludia, you catch it straight away. The other two have just plainly walked past it.
Yes, Eludia.
Your big giant feet nearly crushed it, Grace. There it is.
Giant feet.
I'd say it's very difficult to get shoes in that size. Do you want to take it, Sueris, or should I?
It doesn't matter as long as it gets back. If you want to carry it, you can.
Of course. Eludia will gather. She doesn't really care. She's going to fuck them in her bag.
Okay, you just start ripping the plant.
Yeah.
You're pulling
I'm not being
leaves
careful.
from stalk. You're
Yeah.
pulling root. You're
Yeah.
kind of half mangling it, but yeah, sure. You grab.
I'm not being careful.
Give me a roll of a d12 plus. We did pretty well, so 5.
Plus 5 to the d12.
Yeah.
I know you threw in the 4. 12.
So that was 7 plus the 5.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
12.
Ooh, just hear myself.
Oh,
I think it's coming from tea.
I think so.
man, it's so good to be back.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, it stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hearing yourself, you, despite the lack of care that you are showing in harvesting the plant, Lydia, you have managed to kind of grab 12 healthy bundles or bushels of it, and you've just kind of mashed it into your bag.
I'll just do the work for everyone then. Where to next?
Just continue forward and continue looking.
Can I look and see if there's any sign of like any tracks of Brother Reeves's humanoid. He's an elf, isn't he? Of like any tracks that I could see fresh enough in this area. When did he go missing? It was like 2 days ago, was it?
It's kind of going on to the third day now. Yeah, give me a
Yeah.
survival check.
Survival. 16.
While Sueris, you continue to look for the echinacea, and you're kind of keeping things out, and Grace is kind of looking at the others, kind of like just looking at Aludia in bewilderment. Aludia, you pay her no heed, and you start looking or searching for the any sign of Reeves, anything that might give away. You're not really sure what you're looking for, but you find it's very very strange. It's a small leather bundle. It's half buried in some snow,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like a little leather pouch, and it rattles when you pick it up.
Ooh, what's this? She'll just turn her back to the other two and have a
Okay.
sneaky peek.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
What have you found now,
Ooh.
Eludia?
18. Oh, just looking.
It appears to be, as you open it, it's full of knives, like small little surgical knives.
Ooh. Part of her is going to want to to hide this and keep them, but she's not really good with knives. That's not where her area of expertise is, so reluctantly she'll turn around and show the others. Brother Reese, perhaps? Jingle jangle. Do you recognize them, Sueris? She'll shake them in his face.
Would I recognize the bag? Would I have seen him carrying it
Again,
or have it around?
you'd recognize the bag, the pouch, as being it's a wrap for carrying sterilized blades in. All the blades are surgical or would have been used by a medicine man or a healer. There's nothing on it to denote that it's Reeves, but
Okay, it's not like his set or anything like that.
But it's
Okay.
not too far wide a net to cast to assume it would be.
Sure. I'd imagine so, or whoever stole the supplies anyway. We're not necessarily sure it was Reeves who did so, but it's something to go off of anyway. Where did you find it?
Just there. Looking for everything. Don't know what you two are doing, but
Can I sort of skim the area to see if there's anything else that might lead us to anything?
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
Man, I gotta stop using these dice. It's another fucking 6.
You don't come across anything else, like as you continue your walk and journey through the woods, like still looking for the echinacea that Deacon had asked for to restock their supplies. You don't see the echinacea, and you don't see anything else to denote Reeves's presence or tracks or anything like that sort.
well,
Well, I doubt Reeves would have just dropped this voluntarily.
oh, ever the savant, Grace. Excellent deduction. So where to then?
To the Devil's Pool.
Oh, after you. If there is indeed trouble, I bet our foreman would be just the person to handle it. Off you go.
Grace is just going to stop and just stare Eludia square in the face and just say, I'd be very happy to give this job to somebody else, but since you weren't qualified enough, I'd suggest we just try and get along for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
And then Grace is just going to walk towards the devil's pool, muttering under her breath that a snake comes out of nowhere and bites Ludi on the fucking ankle.
Who does she think she is? Don't fucking tell her. Oh,
Your
swear.
boss!
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Follow our gracious leader.
Can we just get through this, please? Please.
Oh, believe me, Suarez, I'm trying. I am trying so hard.
At least one of us is working. And she just gestures to the pile of muck and shit in her bag.
For once.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
All right, let's keep moving.
As we're walking along, Declan, can I keep an eye out for anything that I might spot? Not because I want to find Reeves necessarily, because I just want to do better than the two that I'm with.
Motivation
And-
is important.
Yeah.
Yes, Grace is going to like start scouring the ground as well.
We're both looking so hard.
Okay, so Eludia and Grace, you're looking for more of Reeves' stuff, or you're looking for the echinacea?
I'm looking for Reeves, like tracks for Reeves. I don't give
Okay.
a shit about the plans.
I'm going to be looking for echinacea because, like Reagan says, it's a priority.
Okay.
Megan says.
So Grace, give me a nature check. Eludia, give me a further investigation check. Suarez, what are you doing in the middle of all this?
Questioning my life choices.
That's a dirty 20.
Oh, bitch. I got a 14. I thought I did well.
Oh.
Right, I'm after the plant as well.
So Grace, out of the corner of your eye, as you kind of turn the cheek to one of Eludia's sneers, you catch just a flash of kind of purple, and when you turn around, they're kind of sitting and wedged in between two large rocks. You see an outcrop of these tall, slender-stemmed purple flowers. At the same time, Suarez, you spot them as well, and there's where you'd been traveling. You would only have seen them had you kind of double backed on yourselves. They weren't immediately obvious. It's only that Grace, you turned your head to like not make eye contact with Eludia, that you kind of caught a glimpse of them. And at that exact moment, Eludia, you find an arm.
Oh, wow.
Is it attached to a body or is it just an arm?
There is an arm half frozen in the snow, sitting in a pool of blood red ice.
Whoa.
Grace is going to head towards the plants, but Woe is going to turn around and take in the blood and just kind of start grabbing handfuls of
No,
it.
no. Don't come near this. Don't come near. Don't touch it. Eludia's gonna get right down, hunker right down, and have a goo at this arm and see, is there any, do I recognize, like, would I have known like what Brother Reeves would normally wear, or is there anything that would identify the arm?
It is, from observation, clearly a man's hand. It's the left hand. There's a lot of blood. There's no cloth. There's no nothing. There's a lot of blood.
Just a bare arm.
Yeah.
Is it stuck like in the snow? Can I try and
No, it's just
get it out?
lying there. It's just lying there.
And can I see like how, what's the cut off? Has it been torn, cut, bitten, that I can see?
Give me a medicine check.
Medicine. 18 again.
You don't do knives, Eludia, but you know a knife wound. And this is an exceptionally clean cut. Surgical, almost.
Suarez, I think you had best look at this. Looks like it was a nice detachment. Good work, whoever did it.
Can I go have a look? And as I'm sort of having a look at it, you still have the knives, do you?
Yeah. You're not getting them.
What? I don't want them. I want to ask you to look at them to see if they're all clean and sterilized still, or like had they been used.
Yeah, I'll do that. No worries.
Okay. Um, I guess yeah, I'll have a look at the arm as well. Oh God, I don't know what I'm really looking for. I guess I'll have a look at the arm and then I'll look at the area. Is there sort of a blood trail, or is it just that one spot?
There's so if you want to give me a medicine check while you look at the arm, but the blood
Sure.
itself, yeah, we'll throw all this into the one roll.
Okay. Sure. Please.
Grace
12.
is going to. Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Yeah. What were you
I was going to say
talking
Grace is going to like just circle the area slowly, trying to see, primarily looking for any sort of tracks or droplets on the snow because the wounds probably wouldn't tell her that much.
You can give me an investigation check,
Mhm.
Grace. Sorry, Suarez.
12.
So you can't tell much about the cut beyond what Eludia was able to discern. Like it's definitely a precise precision cut, but the tools that were used, they don't match the tools that were in that belt or in that
Okay.
pouch. They're too small. There should be, if this was done here, there should be an awful lot more blood.
Okay.
Like if this does not seem to be, and Grace, as you scour kind of around,
Mhm.
you don't spot any other trickles of blood at
Okay.
all. At all.
I rolled a 15, so would Grace know the difference between, like, would Grace know that this was probably a moved body part?
Uh, most likely, yeah. That like if this was done here, like you've seen, like Grace, you've been in combat, you've been in fight to the death, back to the wall, and you've watched men and women bleed out.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen limbs torn from the bodies, people crushed underfoot, by horse, by man, by cart.
Grand.
You know blood, you know death, you know that if this arm was cut here,
It'd
that
be a lot more.
there would be a lot, there would be a trail, there would be something. And even with the snowfall last night, even if it was yesterday, you would still see the blood red seeping through.
And does the blood, okay, does the blood look slightly diluted with the snow, or does it still look fairly strong?
You can't tell.
Lydia's gonna take the hand by the index finger and just slowly swing it in front of her face and just kind of say to herself, Six really would have loved this. What a shame.
I'm sure you can describe it to her in vivid detail.
Oh, I will. I'm taking a mental picture right now.
I expected as much.
Mm-hmm. Here, Grace, hold this. And she's going to toss the arm to Grace.
Grace is going to sidestep said arm.
Yours.
Can I? Okay, so I can't fly with heavy armor on, but can I just take off my armor and I have a movement speed of 50. Can I just fly up 50 foot and get like the layout, see if there's
View?
anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aludia, as you throw the arm at Grace, and Grace, you manage to kind of decide, like, it's not a full side step, it's more you just turn your body, and the arm hits the ground and rolls. You hear just, both of you hear a clunking sound as you see Suarez strip the armor plating off. And with just a beat of their wings, the Arcorcoran is up into the air. You spot three things from this vantage point. You can see the Devil's Pond. You can see the pool of water half frozen, but you can see water kind of churning around it and heading down under a cluster of trees and disappearing into a mouth of rock You see Grace and Ludia below. Ludia kind of snickering to herself about something. A little bit away from you, from them, you can see more things as the light catches them. You can see little bits of things glinting. At first, you think it's the snow, but as you kind of focus and you follow the trail to the east of where they're standing, the things seem to trail off, and there's a cluster. And then you see the trees to the east start to fall as something brushes through them, and there's something big, fast, and strong barreling through the woods. And Eludia and Grace, amidst your arguing, a second too late, both of you realize that something has come upon you. And as Sueris calls out a roar, trying to get your attention, you both notice at the last second a creature barreling down on top of you as an owl bear matron just storms through the wood. She comes to a stop in front of both of you, and she stands 10 feet tall, her arms opened up wide, and you just see bloody razor sharp claws, and between her teeth a ragged torn sheet of flesh dangles.
Ooh.
Her eyes are blood red, her face, the feathers around her beak stained with the blood of whatever it is she's devouring. And she swings out a claw to attack. Roll for
shit.
initiative.
No.
19.
Look at you go. 12 for me.
11.
Oh, and that is an 18 for me too.
Oh shit.
No.
So the owlbear is going first.
No.
I thought no, Grace, did she not get 19?
I got 19.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said 18.
No, 19.
Green, 19 for Grace. Yep, perfect. And then Eludia, you got 12.
12, yeah.
And then Sueris,
11. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Grace, you are up.
So Grace is going to try and ward off the owl bear because she doesn't like killing animals, and I'm going to cause fear. I have moss.
Sure.
Really?
And the cause fear is what save?
It's a wisdom
Okay, of
11.
that's exactly, it's 10 plus 1, so it's 11 exactly.
Ooh.
Oh.
Can't.
As it rears up on her hind legs in front of you, you just see this cloud of black, brown, and grey feathers clumped together in clots, just matted with the blood. She gets larger, and Grace, as you feel kind of the fear and the adrenaline kind of course through your body, you feel the magic mix and muddy with it. And you try and do the same thing as you make your form that much larger, and the magic spirals out of you, and it hits the creature to no effect. Bonus action.
I'm going to attempt to bind this creature, so I'm going to cast Blood Curse of Binding.
Okay.
Ooh.
And
so
that is
you need it's a strength 11.
a strength save
Yeah, strength save.
against what? Sorry, because it cut out.
Or against 11.
11. No, that's a 23.
Oof.
Shit.
Ooh.
Seeing the magic not take hold, you immediately place a hand on your chest against your heart, and you feel something else swirling inside you, a darker magic, a darker something other than you and who you are, and as you leash it outwards, tendrils of this dark arcane energy just waft around you, and they wrap and twist and ensnare the owlbear, but they don't take hold. And then she's upon the both of you.
Oh shit.
Uh, and Grace, that is at 13 to hit.
Okay.
What's your AC?
AC is 13.
Okay, so that hits.
Oh no.
And that's a D10.
This is the only time that Lydia does not want Grace to die because
So takes 6 piercing damage, Grace, as
Okay.
the owlbear immediately, as your magic spindles around it, she bears straight down. You just see this razor sharp black beak open, and
Mhm.
you can see the blood and the spit as a foam inside its mouth as she snaps forward, and her beak snaps over your right shoulder. At the same time, oh, that's a nat 20. Uh,
Oh.
fuck.
Ooh.
she bears a claw straight down on top of you at the exact same time. So that's going to be 8 plus 5, 13, plus 5 is 18, plus another 5. That is 23 slashing damage.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Um, and with her other claw, ooh, that's a nat 1.
Yay.
Okay. Her other
Ooh, I
claw,
am
as. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just like I am so close
Okay.
to being gone.
Um, as she bears as she snaps her beak over you, and you feel her slice into skin, and you feel your bones crushing under the pressure of her jaw and the beak. You just feel a claw lunge forward and just stab straight into your belly, Grace, as she tries to rend you open. At the exact same moment, Eludia, you see her eye kind of dart straight at you.
Uh-oh. Is there anything? Is she trying to attack me? Sorry or no?
At that moment, as her eye locks on you and you see the claw rear up straight towards you, you hear somebody call out your name.
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was. Do I recognize who's calling?
Yeah. You
Who
hear
is it?
Reagan Moret whisper in the back of your mind.
She's gonna. She's gonna try not to let that show in her face. Is there anything around? Like, is there any cover I can run to?
You want to disengage?
Yeah, they're right on top of me. I assume, are they? The owlbear.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So your
Yeah.
action is disengage.
Yes. She wants to get as far away as possible.
As you see Grace torn upwards by the creature and one of its claws buried straight into her belly, uh, hearing Reagan's voice call out, you immediately, well, it has Grace, so you've got time to run, and you disengage. So whereas you see this happening, you see the creature bear down on top of both women. You see it take Grace up, like it holding her up with its claws while it mashes into her shoulder, and you just see Eludia dart into the trees, fleeing. Stop, Eludia.
She would she'd look around for like a thick tree or a rock or something, and she would bury herself behind that. Her heart would be racing, and she'd just hunker down behind. What?
The further away you get from me, the harder it is to communicate. So I will make this very quickly. I know who you are, Eludia Cinderella. I saw what you did yesterday. I saw you take that young woman's life into your hands. I saw you hold her heart and pierce it with metal. And I saw the elation in your eyes.
Yes. And
Grace Stormfield has to die.
she's close enough as it is.
Not by this creature's hand. By yours.
Her breath will catch a little bit in her throat.
Think of it,
Me.
Eludia. The unkillable, indomitable Grace Stormfield. Dead at your feet.
That is a sight, isn't it?
I have work that needs to be done here. Her presence, a happy little accident, the universe's joke.
That she is.
You and I need to come to an arrangement.
Oh, I believe we do. And my cousin?
Is safe
Mm.
for now.
Choose your next words carefully, Miss Marrett.
Eludia, shut up. Shut up and listen, you mewling little juvenile pest. I can, and I will, tear you limb from limb. I am not some dwarven foreman that you can bully round. I am not some shifter at your beck and call. Do you hear me? And more importantly, Eludia Cinderell, do you understand me? And I suggest, young girl, you choose your next words very carefully.
Oh, whatever you say, mistress.
Go back. I will hold the creature. My influence on it is growing weaker. See that Suerus takes care of her. If she dies, Eludia, you best see the fading pulse in her veins as your heads start to run, because there will not be a corner of this world that you will escape to. Grace Stormfield dies when I say she dies. Silent. I think I could get used to that, Eludia.
I had better go.
Do that. And do not disappoint me.
6 remains unharmed.
6 will do what I tell her to.
But she will.
And as you turn, Eludia, back and you see Grace now lying on the ground, the owlbear matron bearing down on top of her, and Suerus diving in, no weapon, no armor, but seeing his companion, his colleague, whatever Suerus sees Grace as, a victim, someone to help, someone to comfort.
Fuck.
You feel your hand trembling as you reach for your bow and you draw an arrow. And as you pull it straight back, the owlbear matron looks straight at you, and those crimson eyes lock. And you see Reagan Moret staring back at you for a second. And then the eyes go white.
Fuck.
And the arrow flies free from your bow and strikes the owlbear dead. And Grace, give me a death saving throw
Fuck.
next time because we're leaving it there.
Ah!
Oh my god, I'm so full of emotion. Mainly rage. Emotion. Don't you fucking touch my cousin.
Um,
Oh
and
my god.
we'll talk. We'll decompress afterwards. We'll do a little decompress after.
Oh, we will. We will, Declan. There'll be
Oh,
lots
we'll.
of decompression.
We'll decompress after.
Oh my god.
So a couple of things. First and foremost, on behalf of the team, my sincerest apologies for the technical issues that we've had this evening. Louise played an absolute whopper in adjusting cameras and stuff on the fly. So thank you, Louise,
Thank you,
for
Louise.
that.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate it. Normally we'd be back in 2 weeks, but this was a bonus episode, so we are actually back next Thursday, and we might even have a little snippet of what happened with Six in the meantime. So more Saving Grace all the time, everywhere, on every channel. We will endeavor to iron out our technical difficulties ahead of the next stream. So I promise you that we'll do our best, just to make sure that we're up to speed. I'm Declan. I've been your dungeon master. I've been joined this evening by Tendai as Grace Stormfield, Fiona as Eludia Cinderal, Amber as Sueris, and briefly Eilish as Six. Special thanks again to Louise for her help with getting the stream up and managing it and dealing with all the hiccups that happen throughout this. Also, a special thank you to everybody who joined us in chat this evening. Honestly, I do love seeing people kind of engage with what we're doing, and that's always great. So yeah, would love to see more of that. We are D8 Dungeon, a group of Irish tabletop role-playing gamers, enthusiasts, and storytellers, and that's really what we're here to do: tell stories, make memories, have fun doing it, and have a little cry sometimes as well. And yeah, a we um, have a podcast, Romance in the Dungeon, which Saving Grace is based on. A little, I was going to say a little more lighthearted, but I mean, lighthearted in a different way. Lighthearted in a different, like a romantic comedy inspired adventure about four heroes looking for love and messing it up along the way and trying to fix love. It's all very weird. Brand new episode of that coming out tomorrow, actually, episode 18 of season 2. Truth's Too Hard to Follow. So I hope you check that out. Every second Monday, we have an episode of Rise of the Forsaken out. And like I said, Saving Grace is normally every second Thursday, but this was an off week episode just to catch up on where we're at. We are back next Thursday for verse 4 of The Cave Sings. And before I forget, do check us out on social media at D8 Dungeon if you're not already following us on the likes of Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or any of those other bits and pieces. We're there. We have a wonderful community of over on Discord that we would love for you to come and check out and hang out with us. Like, genuinely my favorite people on the internet, top notch. If anyone from Discord is in the chat, top notch memes this week. They've really kept me going. 100, quite seriously, top notch. Thank you so much. Lastly, we have an affiliate link with the Rook and the Raven. So if you're looking to get your hands on some customized tabletop role-playing goodies, a campaign journal as a DM or a player journal to keep track of your player stats, character stats, and so on and so forth.
On my notes, I wrote down find flowers and severed arm and owlbear.
Oh,
That sums it up. Yeah.
that sums it up, yeah. The journals are entirely customizable that you can build and make and shape as much to your heart's content. If you use the code D8 Dungeon at checkout, you'll get a 50% discount, and we get a little bit of that bonus as well at the very, very end as well. So that helps us make more content and more stuff. As Fiona said earlier on, just before or just during one of our other technical difficulties this week, we have a schedule of all the events that we do, all the streams that we have, all the shows that we have. Next week we have date night. It's a very chill. We don't play D&D. We don't play any TTRPGs. Sometimes we just hang out. Sometimes we just chat. Sometimes we play video games. Sometimes we do board games. It's all interactive. And we invite people to come into the Discord server and play stuff with us. I think this date night we are playing an interactive choose your own adventure game. So if you're not on our Discord server, come into the Discord server because I will need a hand doing the voices. If there's characters, there will need to be people voicing those characters. So do come along for that date night. It would be great to have you there for that. That's it from us. Thanks so much again for joining us. And
Join us next week for Killing Grace.
Sparing Grace. Sparing Grace.
Oh no. Sparing her, then killing her.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay,
So
thanks
I
so
don't know
much.
about you, but I'm very excited.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.